3 apps to help you out this fantasy football season today on App Judgment. Welcome to App Judgment, your source for mobile app news and reviews. I'm Annie Gauss.
And I'm Chris Jennings. And you know, Annie, it's fantasy football time again.
Yes.
The past couple of years we've talked about fantasy football apps, and this year we're going to do it again. And we just last night had our draft for the Revision 3 Fantasy Football League.
Yes.
We're very excited about it.
Very excited about it. How did you feel about your choices?
You know, you feel good at the time, and then the next night, the next morning, you look and you're like, oh, did I really pick that guy? But you don't know anything until the season starts. Right now, we're all happy. We'll see how it goes. And I know that you had a very interesting draft strategy.
Yeah, well, this was my first ever live fantasy football draft, so, you know, I kind of went with, I look for, you know, sort of the character behind the numbers.
Okay.
That's kind of mainly what I look for is personality.
Personality more than stats.
So we'll see how that translates into victories. Or
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that throughout the season. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Anyway, so there are a number of apps out there that can help you if you've joined a fantasy football league. And a lot of these apps are very similar. They give you a lot of the functionality that you need for your league, but it really all depends on which league you're part of. You know, there are a number of sites out there that do fantasy football, and a lot of times you're not really able to pick. Whoever the commissioner picks, like, all right, we're doing this league. In our instance, with our league, we were told, hey, we're doing a Yahoo league.
Yes.
So
I believe Yahoo's the most popular one.
Yahoo is the most popular. That's the one that I've had the most experience with. I've been doing Yahoo leagues for years now. And technically, it is the most downloaded fantasy football app in the market. So that's the one that most of you out there are using. And so far, I think it's really great. I've used it, like I said, other years. This year, I'm going to be using it for our league that we're doing with Revision 3. It has all the features you need, live scoring updates, roster management, including trades, which is good because you never know when you need to make a trade while you're on the go.
You got to be on top of that at all times.
Yeah, you can't just be in front of a computer. You got to be able to do it from your phone. There's breaking player news and a full message board functionality to post different messages within the team if you're trying to post trades or other things that you want to talk to your teams about.
Yeah, and also worth pointing out is that the interface seems a little bit cleaner and less buggy than it has been in years past. I know that people have complained about it a bit, so
yeah, I know
it's improved a little.
The thing about these apps is a lot of times they just crank out the same one as last year. They're not being really innovative here, but Yahoo did add a few nice touches. They made the interface a little bit easier to navigate around, a lot of dragging and dropping, really intuitive. The one thing that I still think is a negative, we mentioned the message board, but they did not add the smack talk. And if you know anything about, we set up our leagues yesterday, so we had the matchup. And in the matchup, you're able to just smack talk your opponent. That's not in the app.
Yes, and Smack Talk is so integral to the whole experience that maybe they'll put that in for next year.
Especially with your team and the character issues. There are a lot of guys who'd be Smack Talk kings in your league.
All right, well, the next one we're covering is ESPN Fantasy Football 2012. As we said, it's pretty similar. You're pretty much getting a lot of the same features. This one also includes news coverage and video that surpasses Yahoo, I'd say. It's more news-oriented than Yahoo is within the app. You'll also get headlines, videos, and the latest NFL tweets. So if you're a person who pays attention to tweets.
The tweets can be really useful, especially if they're coming from local reporters that have inside information about injuries or things that can affect your lineup. I think the big difference to point out between this and Yahoo is that news. There's more of a focus on news and headlines and videos and tweets. Yahoo has some of that, but not as robust as we have in this app. So that's the big differentiating factor. But also, conversely, there's not as much roster control as Yahoo. It's not as intuitive. It takes a few more steps to make those changes in your roster. So it's positives and negatives. We've got one last app that we're looking at. This is NFL.com's official Fantasy Football 2012 app. This is the one that's officially put out by the National Football League. You've probably seen the annoying commercials with the guy in the beard and the suit promoting it. I don't know. I saw them a lot this past weekend. So the NFL is really highlighting this is their official fantasy football app. And they're trying to get us all to download.
Right.
Well, is it worth it? You know, as we've said, this is very similar to the last two apps. The big difference here, though, from NFL.com is they're focusing on research. They want to give you all of the data that you need to research your team, to make the choices on your players. They have an advice column. They focus on news, big priority with injuries, rankings, projections, and trends. They're just really crunching the numbers for you so you don't have to do all that. They make it really easy. They just put it right in the app so you can see the data and then make your decisions based on that.
Yeah, so this is probably good for people who want to get really wonky with how they research their next move. And you know, I haven't personally used this one yet, but it's an option.
I think a lot of people haven't used this one yet. That's why they're promoting it so much. There's a lot of commercials that are really pushing this. It's good for people who really want to crunch the numbers. They also have a few other variety of game options. They have like a pick'em option. They have one where you pick just certain individual players, not for like a full season, but just like a weekly pick'em game. I signed up for the NFL Perfect Challenge. It's one of the games that they have on the app where you pick certain players and you try to put together the perfect lineup for that particular week. So there's some variety there for people who aren't into the traditional NFL fantasy football action. So there's a little something for everyone there.
And we might add that even if you're not super into football, fantasy is still a pretty good time. And chances are you've probably been invited to a league at some point. You often have no say in which service you're using, really. But every service is a pretty decent app, I'd say.
Yeah, we all have that friend who says, oh, join my fantasy football league. And if you've been hesitant, give it a shot. It's really nothing to lose. It's fun. Even if you're not into football, it's a good way to socialize. We had a good time with our draft.
Yeah.
It was a good time to hang out.
Yeah.
So to recap, though, if you're choosing a fantasy app, here's what you need to know. If you're really into roster moves and managing your options with your team, your trades, Yahoo is the best option, easiest to manage your roster. ESPN is good for people who are into the news, the tweets, maybe somebody who wants to know about the character issues of their players. They want to know what their players are tweeting. Then you got to go with ESPN. And if you're especially nerdy and you really love stats and research, then NFL.com has the app for that. So I think you're covered. No matter which one you use, you should have a great fantasy season.
All right, well, sounds good. And as always, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook. You can sub to us on YouTube at youtube.com/appjudgment, and we will see you tomorrow.
Good luck in those fantasy drafts. You're going to need it.
You're going to need it, especially me.